Okay, so I think we've already established I was low-key obsessed with video games as a kid. It would be extremely bold of you to assume that changed at all. Like, I'm literally obsessed with Final Fantasy 16 and Dead by Daylight as we speak. Like, come on, bro. But I don't know. Sometimes, lately, I find myself looking back a little and realizing, dang, I forgot half of the games I played as a kid. You probably remember this from my video on my Sims party because I genuinely have a problem with forgetting stuff from my childhood at this point. So today, another trip down memory lane. Yep, let's go. I had on 3 games I managed to save from the hidden memories inside my brain, and we're going to be talking about them today. Baby Hazel is a series of point-and-click games. No, not that point-and-click. This point-and-click, where your objective is to keep Hazel happy by dragging items around to cater to her needs. Most of them are on PC, but apparently there's some of them on iOS and Android. I remember there being a few other characters like Hazel's mom, I think her dad, and some of her friends would appear sometimes too. I really want to mention how much the designs of these games suck. Like, genuinely, they were not good. Hazel looks absolutely horrific, her mom isn't much better, and overall I think the colors of the backgrounds are way too saturated. Which I do understand since this game is catering towards children, but damn, my eyes are burning. There is a nearly unhealthy amount of different games they made for this series, so to keep it short, I'll just cover 2. I actually went and played 2 I very distinctively remember from my childhood, one of the very numerous allowing ones, and another one where Hazel's parents come back home with her newly existing brother. What the fuck do you call that? Most of the games are divided between 4 levels where you just gave Hazel items, drag her around, or literally stop her from crying. I'm pretty sure she's literally a brat. Hazel genuinely is the representation of a character with the least amount of patience I've ever seen in my life. I remember that in the Halloween one, how I had to give her a piece of food that I couldn't find because they made it so big in the top bubble, but really small on the plate. I struggled for less than 5 seconds, and she immediately started crying. It's giving
here, right here. All your needs will be met.
I'm hungry!
In a minute!
Also, the grammar, it kind of sucks. I'm not sure which country the company who made this game originates from, but you can clearly tell some words are removed so the sentence would fit fully inside the thought bubble. The biggest good points I can give is that there is a bunch of effort put in the games art-wise, which is crazy work to say considering the designs. I feel like everything might have been tweaked by hand. I don't know, some of the animations are pretty specific to some of the games and don't honestly look that bad. It feels like they really wanted to do something cool with Hazel originally, but just got lost in the process, I guess. I can definitely see how this game appealed to me as a kid with how simplistic it is and easy to understand, even if you didn't speak English, which I didn't by the way. But nowadays, it's definitely aged badly. It was fun to revisit quickly, though. Moving on. Hello? Yeah, what's up? I'm just recording a video. Why? What? Bro, hold on. What?
Hi. Oh, where's Sylvie, I hear you ask? Don't worry about it. I'm here now. That's all you need to know. Anyway, if you know me, like, at all, you'll know that I really like My Little Pony, unfortunately. I'm not a brony, I swear. I grew up with it. I've been watching since, like, season 2. To get to the actual topic of this section, a huge staple of the My Little Pony fandom back in my day were pony sonas. People, mostly angry commentary YouTubers ranting about children's shows and actual children, would create their own pony that was supposed to be representative of themselves. Hell, I even had one. She was a purple unicorn, and she had a rainbow mane, and she was best friends with the entire main 6, but my friendless childhood isn't the idea of today's video. While some folks opted to draw their creations, whether that be from scratch or using some 12-year-old's DeviantArt-based Do Not Steal, others who couldn't draw or were just too lazy for it would use other measures. I'm talking about the Pony Creator by General Zoe on DeviantArt. Yay! I'm sure a lot of people will recognize this one, at least I'm hoping so. This Pony Creator could let you do virtually anything besides turn the pony's head. I have yet to figure out if that's a feature in the game. I remember you could give your pony accessories, change their coat, mane, give them wings, give them a horn. Hell, you could even make them your super awesome DJ Alicorn OC that has all the main 6 and princess's powers. Or you could just make the characters from the show. That's usually what I did. You could even change the background. I used to use the princess's abandoned castle, like, all the time because I was dark and edgy and also, like, 7 years old. I wasn't like other kids, okay? I liked emo horses and Mangle vs. Chica. diva. I'm different. In good news, I'm pretty sure there's a newer version of the Pony Creator that has more angles than just side-facing Pony, and it's also made by General Zoe. So that's cool. You guys hear that? Oh no. Sylvie got out. Oh shit!
This is my channel, you bitch. We are all familiar with this one, and don't even try lying. Louie is a series of point-and-click games. I'm seeing a pattern. They're management games where you're basically thrown under the bus by Louie and put in charge of a bunch of random restaurants. This game has more lore, but that's honestly as far as I'm willingly okay going. Anyway, if you were an OG, you definitely started in that damn pizzeria putting every dang piece of pepperoni on the pizza by the centimeter. However, I wasn't like other kids. I played primarily the pancakes and chicken wings version. I remember both of them being pretty solid games. Winkeria also let me make my own character, which was fun. This is the foundation Navi years before its creation, y'all. Most Papa games follow the same premise of just randomly winning something, and then plot twist, you actually won. Papa deciding to take you in as his employee because he can. Putting his very exploitative way of making people work for him aside, Papa himself is pretty cool. There's this whole game that came out before the pizzeria game where Papa accidentally puts some weird kind of spice in his pizza so they come to life, and he gets teleported to a different realm to stop the Pizza King. I don't know, it's been years, don't come for me. Overall, despite the games being pure dupes, they're still alright to play today, honestly. A little boring because my little kid whimsy is gone now, but still pretty fun. They're all divided by different stations. For example, in Pizzeria you take the order, add the toppings, bake it, and then cut it. It's all honestly very straightforward. All these games I'm pretty sure were actually developed by just two guys, so props. I really do sometimes wish I could go back in time and play these on our family laptop or the school computers, honestly. But alas. Huh? Why is Mortis not in a cage anymore?
I'm back. I've crawled free from my enclosure. He can't keep me trapped for long. I always come back! Anyway, y'all fuck with Angry Birds? You know what it is. Don't lie. It has movies. I'm too afraid to check how many there are. But they exist. I know that. A lesser known fact is that Angry Birds has had multiple discontinued sequel games, aka ones that used to be available on the App Store but were taken off for one reason or another. The specific game I'm talking about for this video is Angry Birds in Space. I'd like to preface this by saying, whose idea was this? Who saw these bird balls and said, send them to space? Anyway, this game was created in 2012 by Rovio Entertainment, meaning I was a disgusting iPad kid when it came out. This game is pretty much exactly how it sounds. Angry Birds, but they're in space. But they're aliens, I think. Also, there's lore. I didn't know this until I started writing this part. Listen, like I said, I was a toddler when this came out. Basically, the birds are hanging out. It's all fun and games until BAM! The best character, Icebird, appears from an asteroid. Hilarious. And then a claw comes out of a wormhole and steals it, and then the Angry Birds get transformed, and then they have to fight the space pigs. They're like normal pigs, except they're in orbs for some reason. I'm not gonna get into the rest of the lore. There's like genuinely too much of it, and I don't want this to be a pain for Sylvie to edit, even though I hijacked this video already. Anyway, I remember playing this game like all the time on long road trips on my grandma's old tablet. I was living that life! Of course, I'd also have Monster High playing on an old-ass portable DVD player too at the same time. No, I don't remember like anything about it. I hold this game near and dear to my heart. Even less known fact, this game ran an anti-bullying campaign with MTV back in 2012 when it was released, which is hilarious to me. Don't bully or else the red bird's gonna peck your eyes out. Pigs look horrifying in this video, by the way. I hate it. Maybe it's a good thing this game was shut down.
Alright, there's no way any of you know what the fuck I'm talking about this time, or at least if you do, I'm surprised as hell. Gravity Rush is an action-adventure game from 2012 developed and published by Sony on the PS Vita. And it then also got a remastered version in 2016 and a sequel in 2017. The game opens up on an apple falling from a tree and traveling through a town until it eventually lands next to a girl's face and she wakes up. From there you now control Cat, she's amnesiac and only remember that there was another way and nothing more. She eventually meets her little galaxy cat who she names Dusty. We won't talk about the creativity here. That lets her control the gravity around her and essentially fly. And now from there, Cat becomes the protector of the city against what we call the Nevi. They look like big bubbles of slime Loki, while she also tries to remember her past. I'm pretty sure the PS Vita version had a bit of a struggle with the controls, which was kind of fixed for the PS4, and then I believe they were even better in the second game. To be transparent, I honestly believe the second game is better, but I have a lot of memories with the first one. The story after the introduction is a little bit of a blur. I do remember some parts of it, and I will honestly say that you should try the game for yourself or watch a playthrough like I did if you don't have a PlayStation. Though I don't think some of the bigger English YouTubers did any on the game. If you also need more convincing to give a try, the creator of Silent Hill worked on the game. I am literally pretty sure he was the director of the project in general. The art style for the game is also very original in my opinion. The dialogues are not fully voice acted and are rather displayed in a style similar to comics with speech bubbles. The opening for chapters also just look like they're just comic book covers, and sometimes they're just comics in general. The OST is also goated. Yeah, a little sneak in here, I didn't know where else to mention it. As crazy as it sounds, the graphics remind me of Kingdom Hearts in a weird way that I will not explain because even I have no clue, honestly. Also, two of my favorite characters of all time came from Gravity Rush. Guys, trust me, Japan studio didn't close. Trust me! Anyway, Mortis, get the mic. I'm gonna go grieve the non-existence of Gravity Rush free again.
Alright, while Sylvester is sobbing in a corner, I'm gonna talk about an educational game! A lot of you guys might know this one. It's a website called Starfall. You know, the one everyone's elementary school teachers made the entire class play on the smartboard? I'll admit it, every chance I got to be in the computer lab in the early days of my school life, or even on the computers on the sides of the classroom, I'd go on Starfall. Thing is, I was a really weird kid, to say the least, so my favorite game, no matter the time of year, was always the pumpkin one. The idea of this game is pretty obvious. You make a pumpkin and it does a little jig at the end. I remember I always made the basic jack-o'-lantern, like every single time I played the game. Thing is, I had a least favorite too, and I think I blocked it out until I looked back into the website for this video, I'm gonna be honest with you. The zigzag game scared the shit out of me. They look unnatural, I'm scared, someone call the police! Huh, is that a nuclear siren? Shit, I gotta go.
If you watch Queso, you probably know about this one and about Dolores. But if you're not French, you won't know how this game genuinely had a bunch of success in the community. Like the most recent video I saw was from 2 years ago. The game is from 2019. At least for the re-optimized version. The story behind the game is simply that you're a small little family in the 1950s when suddenly an alarm goes off and you need to collect every member of your family and items that will aid you in surviving for as long as possible in your bunker. I can't remember clearly, but I think the nuclear bomb actually went off because of your neighbor's paranoid tendencies. At least I believe that's what the journal tells you on day one. I have a lot of memories on this game, from watching VODs of YouTubers to trying getting every ending possible, to trying my best to remember which items you had to prioritize in the beginning, or even managing becoming a mutant for some reason. I remember how important it was to grab the nuclear mask so members of the family can go and explore outside of the bunker early on rather than staying inside and using up all the resources. Or how certain family members and expeditions was basically worthless because Timmy only thinks they're bringing back toys for some reason. And also how the map and medkit could genuinely save a whole playthrough. And of course, I can't forget Sharkov! My baby! There's also a bunch of other cats too, I believe, but I just like Sharkov the most because I have an orange cat. No offense. Also, I like tomato soup a lot, so the game seems a little fitting.
So, Duck Life is a game. I discovered it when I was around 8 or so after state testing in the computer lab at my school. I used to play Fireboy and Water Girl all the time whenever we were in the computer lab. My friend was absent that day, I think, so I decided to find something else to play on the holy lands of cool math games instead. And that's when I saw it. A game with a neon yellow bird as the thumbnail. What's important for you to understand is that I was in my LOL random animals are so cute, mustaches are so funny XD phase at the time. It was like 2015, okay? So naturally, I immediately knew this game was the one I'd play. Duck Life has interesting lore, to say the least. You play as a farmer whose barn was destroyed by a large tornado, with the sole survivors being you and a singular duckling egg. I don't remember the lore being this depressing, but that's probably just because I skipped it when I was younger. The goal of the game? Train your duckling to be the best little guy it can be so you can get the money back to rebuild your barn. Once you actually get to the game, you can train your duck in 3 different modes: swimming, flying, and running. Each mode is seemingly endless as far as I can tell, and will give you money based on how high your score is. The controls are mostly left click on the running and flying games, but for some reason the arrow keys on the swimming game Anyway, speaking of the swimming game, I'm like really good at it and totally did not crash into like 19 icebergs. I'm super good at it. Anyway, after leveling up most of my duck's stats to over 100, I put my duck in the tournaments. Except they're not as scary as they sound. I think I overleveled my duck a little. I kicked everyone's asses. After the tournaments, I got multiple rewards, including the silly hat. Well, that's all I needed. I'm satisfied with this.
I always find it fun to go back and look at what younger me was doing. For a lot of these games, I actually didn't think about them for years before I started working on this video. I'm also glad I was joined by a friend for this. It made it way more fun and interesting to look into what Mortis grew up with compared to me, considering how vastly different our childhoods were. Even though this is a very nostalgic subject, I'm always happy to look back like this. Also, let me know if you'd want a part 2. I don't know. Let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed looking back with us. I know for a fact I personally had a lot of fun discussing all the games we'd cover with Mortis, since we just started rambling about them to each other for hours sometimes. As always, thank you to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to hang out with me, you're welcome to pop in on Twitch or my Discord server. I'm very active on both platforms and do 2 to 3 streams on Twitch per week. Thank you for watching, and until next time.